the whole time. We've got some activity bags over by the coffee thing, and so you can help yourself to activity bags and coloring pages and felt animals and everything else. Thank you. Look at, I'm super fancy. Dudes came up to move my thing for me today. I'm like fancy pastor. Look at that. Anyway, before we get started, thank you guys. I super appreciate that. Before we get started, we're just going to do a few announcements this morning. That way you're not asleep when I do announcements later. So there's just a few things I want to remind you about. If this is your first time here, if I don't know you super well, I'd love it if you filled out a hello card at your table, or you can even use this QR code to let me know that you're here. I'd love to be able to get to know you, and maybe we could have coffee, and you can let me know more about you, and you can know more about me, and it'll be a great time. Tonight we're having a bonfire at my place. There's information in the bulletin. This will be our second one. We missed last week because it was 985 degrees. And so we didn't have a bonfire, but we're having one tonight. It's at my place. I'd love it if you could come. Just bring a camp chair or a lawn chair, whatever you call it, and maybe something to drink. And I know last time my friend Emmy brought s'mores, but Emmy's not here right now, so I don't know if Emmy's bringing s'mores tonight or not. But if you want to bring s'mores tonight, you totally can. I'd love to see it tonight. It's just, there's nothing planned. There's no, yes. How late does it go? It goes from, thank you, it goes from 6:30 till about 8. Like there's no like dead set time. Like when I was a kid, my grandpa would, when it was time for his guest to leave, he'd bring out his alarm clock. He'd be like, crick, 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 crick. Like you knew that was the time to leave. So I'm not going to bring out the alarm clock, but it's about 8. You know what I mean? And so it's just like we've got bags and we've got ladder golf and a fire. And so it's just time having a conversation and getting to know one another, because church should be family more than it should be a corporate body. And so we have bonfires tonight at 6:30 at my house. Like I said, there's more information in the bulletin if you'd like more information. We're still looking for volunteers for 2 weekends from now is the block party for St. Mary's. And so what they've done is they don't have a church picnic anymore. They just picnic with other churches. But in August, they have this party for the neighborhood. So it's not about selling beer and booyah and raising money for the church. It's instead about providing a place for the neighborhood to come together. And so we really love that idea. And so last year was our first year here. So we like jumped right on board with that. And so we, volunteered to do stuff and we donated money. We're going to do the same thing this year. So we're still looking for volunteers willing to set up, willing to tear down, willing to make tie-dye t-shirts or balloon animals or something. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, please, there's a QR code inside the bulletin, or you can stop by the welcome station. My friend Pat will be there. And so she'll answer any questions you might have. But I'd like it if it was a full court press. We do not have church service that day. We're just going to serve our neighborhood that day. So, and then also want you to get this on your calendar. Sunday, September 7th at 10 a.m., we'll have our church picnic, and that's going to be over at Green Isle Park. And so just make sure you get that on your calendar, because they'd hate for us to get there. You'd be like, what? I don't even know about it. How come you didn't tell me about the church picnic? Because Pat yelled at me this week. She said, what's wrong with our people? She's like, why are people always asking me? How come I didn't know about this? She said, you've been telling them for 2 months, Scott. I said, I know, Pat. I get scared. Like, I want you to know that I'm standing in the line of fire for you. Like I am. And so like, you're welcome for that. Anyway, so I just want to make sure that you know that the church picnic is coming up on September 7th. I think that's it. Oh wait, I also want to tell you that next week, this is in your bulletin. Did you see it in the bulletin? Maybe you should open it up. Yeah, it's right there on the bottom, like inside. Do you see it? Let's visit Darrell. I know, I just took that on Thursday. Anyway, next Saturday, we're going to go see our friend Darrell. And so Darrell is a friend of our church. He's been attended at our church, and life has thrown him some curveballs, you guys. And so he ended up enrolling at Adult Teen Challenge. And so we're all going to go see him next Saturday. Like, I don't know if the whole church can just show up that way, but we're showing up. Oh, all right. Yes. And so we're all set to go. And so I love supporting all our people, no matter where they're at. Right. And if you don't know, Adult Teen Challenge is this resident. What do you call it? Residential? I don't know. Thanks, buddy. Jordy knows. A residential people who are struggling with addiction or stuff like that, getting sober and getting straight. And so he's part of that. And I just love it. I love it. He was there on Thursday when we had the concert in the park with and those dudes, man. If you were there, you saw those dudes, man. Like they shamed us into worshiping. You know what I mean? Like they didn't mean to do it, but that's how we should all be worshiping, is how they worshiped. And I love that. Anyway, so we're going to go see him next Saturday. There's more information in your bulletin if you need it. So, wait, what? Oh my gosh, lady, what? It's at 999 North Military. It's at Adult Teen Challenge. So, are you sure? All right, Jillian's done. We're almost there. We're almost going to get started, you guys. I just want to remind you about giving. Oh, sorry, Doug. I just want to remind you about giving. You can give, if you give the old-fashioned way with an envelope, you can stick the envelope in the black can in the middle of your table if you give with a cash or check. Or you can give a new-fashioned way by going to remnantgiving.com, and you can make a one-time or ongoing gift there to support our ministry. I was thinking about that today, and sometimes people get tired of churches talking about money because they're like, I don't know, you're going to take the offering again, huh? In fact, I got yelled at on Thursday because I brought buckets on Thursday to the kind of, because we like, it was cost money for us to do that concert in the park. It cost like money to rent the building, and we bought some signs, and we paid for some other things. Like, this costs actual money, you guys. And so I thought I would bring popcorn buckets and we'd pass the bucket, because that's what happened when I was a kid. And then one of the other pastors was like, bro, you cannot pass the bucket. Like, that's the grossest, churchiest thing you could ever do. And I'm like, I know, but it costs money. It's fine. It's fine. It costs money. But you can't pass the bucket. So I know some of us have this distaste in our mouth about giving at church. You just want our money so that you can go on vacations or buy more churches or buy more expensive cars. I'm just telling you that that's not that way. But even if you struggle spiritually with this idea of giving money, I'd love to have coffee with you about that. Even if you just came here because you recognize that this is your clubhouse of friends, like this is where you go and you hang out with your friends, there's still like a function of this. It's like the Elks Lodge or the Moose Lodge or the isn't there another animal that has a lodge? I don't know. The Lions Club. See, there was. It's like a whole zoo. So when you belong to a social organization like that, you still have dues, right? You still pay money, so like you can pay rent and you can do great things in the community. And so whatever level you feel you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. If you have questions about how giving works, please ask me, and I'd be happy to walk you through what our budget looks like and how your money's being spent. That's it for announcements. I'm ready for a video. You ready for a video, Doug? But listen, before he plays this, once again, because we're talking about science, you got to have your thinking caps on right away. Like, we're not spooling up to this. You got to be thinking right away, because it's like heavy information straight out of the gate. Okay.
From galaxies and stars down to atoms and subatomic particles, the very structure of our universe is determined by these numbers. These are the fundamental constants and quantities of the universe. Scientists have come to the shocking realization that each of these numbers has been carefully dialed to an astonishingly precise value, a value that falls within an exceedingly narrow, life-permitting range. If any one of these numbers were altered by even a hair's breadth, no physical, interactive life of any kind could exist anywhere. There'd be no stars, no life, no planets, no chemistry. Consider gravity, for example. The force of gravity is determined by the gravitational constant. If this constant varied by just 1 in 10 to the 60th parts, none of us would exist. To understand how exceedingly narrow this life-permitting range is, imagine a dial divided into 10 to the 60th increments. To get a handle on how many tiny points in the dial this is, compare it to the number of cells in your body, or the number of seconds that have ticked by since time began. If the gravitational constant had been out of tune by just one of these infinitesimally small increments, the universe would either have expanded and thinned out so rapidly that no stars would form and life couldn't exist, or it would have collapsed back on itself with the same result: no stars, no planets, and no life. Or consider the expansion rate of the universe. This is driven by the cosmological constant. A change in its value by a mere 1 part in 10 to the 120th parts would cause the universe to expand too rapidly or too slowly. In either case, the universe would again be life prohibiting. Or another example of fine-tuning. If the mass and energy of the early universe were not evenly distributed to an incomprehensible precision of 1 part in 10 to the 10 to the 123rd, the universe would be hostile to life of any kind. The fact is, our universe permits physical, interactive life only because these, and many other numbers, have been independently and exquisitely balanced on a razor's edge. Wherever physicists look, they see examples of fine-tuning. The remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. If anyone claims not to be surprised by the special features that the universe has, he's hiding his head in the sand. These special features are surprising and unlikely. What is the best explanation for this astounding phenomenon? There are three live options. The fine-tuning of the universe is due to either physical necessity, chance, or design. Which of these options is the most plausible? According to this alternative, the universe must be life-permitting. The precise values of these constants and quantities could not be otherwise. But is this plausible? Is a life-prohibiting universe impossible? Far from it. It's not only possible, it's far more likely than a life-permitting universe. The constants and quantities are not determined by the laws of nature. There's no reason or evidence suggests that fine-tuning is necessary. How about chance? Did we just get really, 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 really lucky? No. The probabilities involved are so ridiculously remote as to put the fine-tuning well beyond the reach of chance. So, in an effort to keep this option alive, some have gone beyond empirical science and opted for a more speculative approach, known as the multiverse. They imagine a universe generator that cranks out such a vast number of universes that, odds are, life-permitting universes will eventually pop out. However, there's no scientific evidence for the existence of this multiverse. It cannot be detected, observed, measured, or proved. And the universe generator itself would require an enormous amount of fine-tuning. Furthermore, small patches of order are far more probable than big ones. So the most probable observable universe would be a small one, inhabited by a single, simple observer. But what we actually observe is the very thing that we should least expect: a vast, spectacularly complex, highly ordered universe, inhabited by billions of other observers. So even if the multiverse existed, which is a moot point, it wouldn't do anything to explain the fine-tuning. Given the implausibility of physical necessity or chance, the best explanation for why the universe is fine-tuned for life may very well be it was designed that way. A common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect monkeyed with physics, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. The numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question. There is for me powerful evidence that there is something going on behind it all. It seems as though somebody has fine-tuned nature's numbers to make the universe. The impression of design is overwhelming. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they reveal knowledge.
Thinking caps, right? Like, I know that's a lot. You're probably like, bro, it's not. Oh, Gail's here. Hey, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. What are we even talking about right now? And so I get it. Turn your Bibles, if you would, to the very first page. Genesis 1:1. If you don't have a Bible, know that we've got some right on the table for you. You can follow along, or you can open up the YouVersion app or the Bible app. And if you go in the lower right-hand corner, click on More, and then go to Events, you can look for Remnant Church, and you can see that all the scripture verses and all the notes and everything are right there. You can follow along in real time. Just make sure that if you take your own notes, that you save it. Otherwise, it vanishes tomorrow. So, Genesis 1:1. Oh, you were already there. Great job. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So, if you wanted to look at it a particular way, you could say to yourself that here's what existed in our universe before God, right? And then God was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to It says here, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So he just did some work that he created the heavens, right? I'm not a very good painter, but I got acrylic paint because I like that it's like it has texture to it. Anyway, so he created this thing where he's like, okay, now we've got the heavens and it's perfect and I love it. I love everything about that. And then I'm going to create a little bit of earth too, because I'm the God that created something. Already God has created something. It was a blank canvas 30 seconds ago. But God, the creator, says, okay, I'm going to create the heavens and a little bit of earth. You know, that'll be nice. We'll put some happy trees here. Sorry, that's funny if you know who Bob Ross is. Some happy trees. I don't know if Bob talked that way or not. Sorry if I did that, and that's not really true. Anyway, so maybe some like a little bluer color right here. That's nice. And then maybe there's even like a little bit of, whoa, let's drop that right on the thing. And then Pat would have been really mad at me. And then there's like a little lake there, and then maybe some more, right? Earth, right? And so it's just nice, right? So he created the heavens and the earth. God created this. Yes? It was blank before. A minute ago, it was blank. And then God's like, oh, and then you know what else? I'm going to make like a squirrel. I'm going to make a squirrel with a head like this. He's got a body like this. Like, who doesn't like squirrels? Everyone likes a squirrel, right? But instead of...
Give it a tail, please.
Hang on a second. Got this squirrel. But what if... I've already got a squirrel with a bushy tail. What if instead we made the squirrel and he had like a beaver's tail on it, right? Probably needs to be a little bit darker than that. A beaver's tail. Yeah, like that. It's flat. Maybe then what if we gave him like a beak, like a duck? A squirrel with a duck's beak, and then maybe even like we gave him like duck feet so he could swim in the water. If he ever wanted to go to the water, he could swim. He'd have webbed feet, you know what I mean? So he could swim really, really well. We got a squirrel already, we got a beaver already, got a duck already. What are we going to call this guy? We'll call him a platypus. I made a platypus out of that. And this is what God does. He took a blank nothing and made something. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. We'll put a little sunshine here. God created the heaven and the earth, right? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's made just for us so that we could enjoy the heavens and the earth and the sun and the platypus. He made it so that we could enjoy it. There was nothing, and he made something. Do you understand? He made something from nothing. Where would the platypus come from if God didn't make it up? What are you talking about right now? Someone did that. This will be available for purchase later, by the way. I'll sign it for you if you'd like. Then there's this other verse that says this. It says, for every house has a builder, but the one who built everything is God. The house can't exist without a builder. And if you ask my friend Michael, he'll tell you, you can't build it without a plan for it. You can't just start building a house, right? You can't just start getting some wood out, like, okay, I'm just going to build. There's got to be a plan for it. There has to be like, oh, this is how long this thing is, and this is where this thing meets that thing. And then, so you've got a plan for it. There's a design to it. There's intentionality to it. And then once you've got that, then you can say, okay, well, now I've got these wood. I've got to start building my house with this wood, and then I'll build it according to the plan. And so there's both a design and these nails are way too long, Scott. It's going to take you 15 hours to pound this together. My gosh, in heaven. Right? So but like I'm going to take this time to build it according to the plan, right? The end of the stage. Right? Oh my gosh, this one's not even... Sorry. Just a couple more seconds. Why did you get such big nails? So then, oh my gosh. Michael's never going to hire me to build a house. But now I built it. I built it according... This is also available for purchase later. Now I've built it according to the plan. It took an effort to build it by a design. This didn't accidentally happen. I didn't just throw this wood down with the nails and say, well, let's wait again. How about now? How about now? Right? It didn't happen that way. Those nails in that wood could have sat there for 16 trillion billion years, and they never would have put themselves together. You understand? Why am I out of breath? I could have a heart attack. It would have just happened by itself. It had to be designed. It had to be thought out. Well, this can't go there. It's got to go here. And this has got to be this long. This has to be that long in order for it to act together. In order for it to work. In order for us to get 1 to 1/10 to the 120th power, right, of the exact dimensions. It's got to take intelligent design to make that happen. 16 chances out of 10 that I'm going to step on one of those nails and get some kind of disease. Anyway, so there's one more verse. The heavens proclaim the glory of God. The skies display his craftsmanship. Day after day, they continue to speak. Night after night, they make him known. Creation, yes, the Creator is evident in our observation. We just have to open our eyes to see the creation. We just have to open our eyes and see that day after day they continue to speak, and night after night they make God known, that the skies display his craftsmanship. We live on this piece of land that faces, the back of our house faces east, and there's a cornfield back there now. I think they're going to start building houses soon, but right now it's a clear shot to the sunrise every morning. This morning sunrise was beautiful because I'm sure there's people that are really mad about the Canadian wildfires, and I'm sure they burned somebody's property. But for me, it's a really beautiful sunrise because I can look right at the sun when it's coming up. And it's beautiful. And I love sunrises, and I love sunsets, and I love storms, and I love nature. I'm reminded of this quote from the French philosopher Voltaire, who said this: "I cannot imagine how the clockwork of the universe can exist without a clockmaker." And I love that. It's too perfect. It works too perfectly, too much like clockwork for there not to be a clockmaker. The Kalam, did I say that right, Zach? Thank you. Cosmological argument is a logical argument for God's existence. It's called the Kalam cosmological argument, in that everything that begins to exist has a cause. It can't just come from nothing. This wood can't create that beautiful three-piece art by itself. If it started somewhere, someone had to make that happen. If it started to exist, someone had to make it happen. The Kalam cosmological argument. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. So the universe began to exist, for sure. And that's supported by scientific evidence, like the Big Bang or like anything else, right? The science is supportive of that idea. Therefore, the universe has a cause which we understand as God. God is the cause. I was the cause. Shocking as it is to believe, I was the cause. See how it's not only three-dimensional, but it also has movement? This is why it's beautiful. I was the cause of this. I was the cause. Me. This didn't exist by itself out of the blue. Science describes how the universe works through natural selection and what did I just say? And Big Bang and evolution as a mechanism. But the Kalam argument addresses why it exists. We need to compare science and faith as two lenses. One helps you see the details, which is science, and the other gives the big picture, faith. And together, they provide quality, clarity, right? Together. I need them both. I need science to show me the details, but I need my faith to show me why. If God's not the why, then why the what? Why in the what? 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 If there's not a why, then the what doesn't even matter. Believing in a creator God doesn't contradict science. It complements it by answering the deeper question of purpose. If I pull out, what is the why? What is the purpose? What is the meaning? And so if God created the universe with purpose, what does that mean for us? What does purpose mean for me? Because don't you have to ask yourself that question? Why am I here? Why do I have my own consciousness? Why do I have my own sense of self? Why did I feel really bad for that kid in the art aisle at Hobby Lobby? Where does it even come from? If I were just an accident that showed up this way, why would I even care about that kid at the Hobby Lobby? Art, why would there even be a Hobby Lobby? I know. I broke it. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. This is my most Jesus pose I can think of. If God created the universe with purpose, what does that mean for us? We might ask our mom, what's our purpose? She might have 1,000 ideas of what my purpose is, right? If I ask my mom, she'll be, oh, you should be this and you should be that, la, 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 la. She has all these things about what my purpose is. My mom would. My boss would too. If I had a boss, they would tell me what my purpose is. Your purpose is to be here 5 minutes before you're supposed to be here, stay 5 minutes after you're supposed to be here, do not take a break, and work through your lunch. That's what my purpose is according to my boss. We can ask other people what our purpose is, right? But we should be looking one place for our purpose. This is the only place we should be looking for our purpose. It doesn't matter what my mom says. It doesn't matter what my boss says. Frankly, it doesn't matter what my wife says. Don't tell her I said that. It only matters what God says. God determines my purpose. God determines my meaning. Everything else is me chasing my tail. Have you ever watched a dog chase his tail? Funniest thing. I know, it's funny, right, Rose? Funniest thing. And that's us, man. Got to get to work. Got to get that check. Got to make that money. got to pay them bills. I don't know why I'm talking like that right now. Chasing our tail. When with man-made purpose, man-made meaning, chasing our tails. When we should be asking God what our purpose is. It reminds me of that one meme. There's this meme that says, like, this is a student. Here's what my friends think I do. My friends think I'm super nerdy. Here's what my teachers think I do. They think that I'm just out partying all night. Society thinks I'm also out partying all night. My parents think I'm just spending their money. I think I'm studying really hard, but what I really do is just sit and veg all the time as a student. I feel like that's what most students do. Coop, do you feel like you're just vegging? Actually, Cooper's never vegging. I've never seen a picture of Coop vegging in my life. I don't know. Maybe it's his mom. Maybe it's Cooper's mom. And if that's the case, you should light a candle for Coop across the street. Maybe his mom makes him do all these things, but Cooper's always doing something. He's never like that guy. Anyway, it's a funny meme because you can do it for photographers and you can do it for pastors and you can do it for engineers or whatever. You can do it. It's a funny meme. But this is the meme. This is the direction. As a Christian, it doesn't matter what my friends think I should do. It doesn't matter what my boss thinks I should do. It doesn't matter what society thinks I should do, or what my parents think I should do, or even what I think I should do. What matters is what God thinks I should do. And God thinks I'm out there supposed to be loving. Am I loving? Sure, I can have a job. I need a job because I got bills to pay, yo. Sure, I can have a job. Is that the purpose of my life? Absolutely not. My purpose is to love. So even when I'm doing my job, I better be loving while I'm doing my job. I better be loving that coworker that's a real pain in the doot, right? I better be loving my boss. I better be loving my customers. I better be loving everybody. I better be loving God with everything that I've got. We said it last week, with all my heart, with all my strength, with all my mind. I better be loving God. Here's a flow chart for you, speaking of science. Here's a decision tree. Do you believe in God? Yes? Wait a second. Do you believe in God? No? Please come and see me after church today. Do you believe in God? Yes? Okay. Do you believe in heaven? No. Please come and see me after church today. Yes? Is heaven eternal? No? Please come and see me after church today. Yes? Then live life and prioritize accordingly, because your priorities and your purpose are determined by eternity. That's a period. Period. Your priorities and your purpose are determined by eternity. It's on an eternal clock. It's on the forever clock. Where are you spending not the next 20 years of your life before you retire, the next 5-year plan of your life? That's not the clock. The clock is eternal. It's an eternal clock. Now, I'm confident, I'm told, I'm promised that my eternity is in heaven. And I need to work accordingly. I need to prioritize accordingly. In the eternal clock of heaven, what can I do right now? What matters right now? What's my purpose right now? On an eternal clock, what is that? Because it's not the 5-year plan. It's not the 20-year plan. It's not before I die plan. It's eternal. And that's a long time. And so am I prioritizing my purpose accordingly? Am I working accordingly? Or am I working so that I can get a college? I'm really saving so that I can go to Disney next year, which I'm not doing. I really wish I were saving for Disney. But I'm saving for this, or I'm saving for that, or I'm planning for this, or I'm planning for that. And God's like, bro, we're not on a 5-year plan. This isn't a 5-year plan, you guys. This is a forever year plan. What are you doing for forever? What are you doing for the kingdom that lasts forever? What are you doing for the kingdom that lasts forever? That's a question we have to be asking ourselves. Not the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan is stupid. Listen, please don't mishear me. It's important to have a 5-year plan. I understand, right? Even the church needs a 5-year plan. But everything I do is according to the eternal kingdom plan. Everything I do. That's the only one that matters. Application. God's purpose focuses on living with gratitude and faithfulness. We live in the kingdom plan, in the 500 billion year plan, by living with gratitude and faithfulness. A, God's purposeful design. Genesis 1:1, Hebrews 3:4, Psalm 19:1 and 2, and 1,000 others reveal a God who created with intention, designing the world for relationship and stewardship. We're here for a purpose, for relationship and stewardship. One true story that aligns with the theme of finding purpose through recognizing one's place in God's creation is that of John Muir. Now listen, for me, until 3 weeks ago, if you would have mentioned the name John Muir for me and the Sierra Club and the whatever, I'd be like, oh, nerdy, liberal, hippie, right? Totally would have been that, right? What kind of hippie granola freak knows who John Muir is? Well, again. So, John Muir was a renowned naturalist and a conservationist born in 1838 in Scotland, who later moved to the United States. Muir's life took a transformative turn in his early 20s when he began to deeply engage with the natural world, particularly after a life-altering incident in 1867 while working in a factory. A tool pierced his eye, temporarily blinding him and forcing him to pause his mechanical pursuits, his job, his profession. During his recovery, Muir turned to nature, taking a 1,000-mile walk from Indiana to Florida, immersing himself in the landscapes along the way. The journey awakened in Muir a profound sense of awe and connection to the earth. He wrote in his journals about the beauty of the forest and the mountains, often reflecting on the divine hand behind creation, influenced by his Presbyterian upbringing and his readings of the Bible, including passages like 1:1. Muir came to see nature as a reflection of God's artistry. Pat, why are you laughing right now? Someone should buy this and put it in Pat's house, because I feel like Pat really wants that. Yep. I will sign it. The realization gave him a sense of purpose. Being among the forest and the mountains and the trees and the platypuses gave him a sense of purpose to protect and preserve the wilderness. Settling in California, Muir's encounters with the Sierra Nevada mountains deepened his faith and mission. He founded the Sierra Club in 1892 and tirelessly advocated for the preservation of the Yosemite Valley and other natural wonders, convincing, in fact, President Theodore Roosevelt to establish the national parks. We wouldn't have national parks without John Muir. And John Muir wouldn't be John Muir without the creation of God. He couldn't stand in Yosemite and say, oh my gosh, how could this have accidentally put itself together? There's no way it could have accidentally put itself together. Yes, there's questions. Why does it seem like it would have taken 10 billion years to happen and not 6 days? Why are there like levels of fossils that are found this deep and different fossils found this deep and different? Sure, there's questions. Let's figure it out. That doesn't disqualify God from being the creator. Muir's purpose was rooted in his belief that humanity was part of God's creation, called to steward it with reverence. His life's work, driven by gratitude for nature's beauty, left a lasting legacy, inspiring millions to find purpose in caring for the earth as an act of worship. So we should reflect on how God's purposeful creation includes us, you, each person, to be designed with value and purpose. You guys must be tired of this by now. I mean, maybe you are, maybe you're not. We talk about this all the time. This is God's purpose for us. I'm sorry if this is a repeat for you. But like God has put each of us in place to make things happen, right? We talked about this, right? Like, oh gosh, geez. Pat, thanks, Pat. Pat's always laughing at me. This is the world without us. Maybe this one thing is happening, but God has a purpose for all of us. Each one of us, He has a purpose and meaning and like a cause for us to do, so that when He uses it, we're all moving. We're all moving according to God's purpose. All of us. Right? We're all integrated into God's purpose and meaning. And you might be out here thinking, listen, I'm just a red knob, bro. Like, what? I don't even mean anything. No. Like maybe by yourself, you know what I mean? Like, what even is this off by itself? What are you, Emily Shout, by yourself? But part of something. Oh, I see. The whole thing moves now. The whole thing moves because of me, because of who I'm meant to be. And like, that's why I love our church so much, because it's small enough where we can figure out who's the red knob, right? That's probably not the right one. But like, we can figure out who the green wheel is. I know who the green wheel is. I know what you're all supposed to do here. And you're here for a purpose. You're here in meaning to make the whole thing work. And I love that. B, living with gratitude. Recognizing God as creator inspires gratitude for the world, our lives, and His provision. You should take time this week to appreciate creation. Walk in nature, marvel at the stars, look into the face of your kids, look into the face of your dog. Like, think about it when you're mowing the lawn, and express daily a gratitude for God's design and God's creation. Psalm 19, 1 and 2 says this, if you remember. The heavens proclaim the glory of God. The skies display His craftsmanship. Day after day, they continue to speak. Night after night, they make Him known. I can't look into the face of my kids without seeing. I can't look at the face of your kid without seeing that. Are we taking the time, or are we so busy with our 5-year plan or our 90-day goals that we don't even get to see God's creation and our place in it? Well, no wonder why you're not amazed by it. You're too worried about your 90-day goals and your 5-year plan. You're not going to see creation. You're not going to see God's blessing. You're not even looking for it. C, living with faithfulness. God's purposeful design calls us to live faithfully, stewarding His creation and fulfilling His purposes for us. We should serve others as an act of stewardship, volunteering, and caring for our environment. Align your life with God's purpose through prayer and obedience. Colossians 3:17 says this, and whatever you do or say, do it as representative of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through Him to God the Father. My daughter, Ray, I wish you were here. She gets mad at me because she feels like I do too much. That she feels like I jump too fast to help people. And I do. I jump super fast. Right? Like if you came back and you're like, bro, I can't get the lock off my bike. I got to go. I would do whatever I could. Right? I'd drive wherever I could. Like if you know me, you know like I'm not telling tales. I do whatever I could. And she says to me, my daughter says, you got to stop jumping whenever someone needs something. I'm like, this is expressly why I was created, to do things for other people. I don't know why you were created, right? But God will work that out with you. But I know that's why I was created, to jump. If Pat says, Scott, I've got this, I'm going to jump and do whatever I can for Pat. If Jillian says, Scott, I've got this, I'm going to jump and do whatever I can for Jillian, whatever I can for Zach, whatever I can for Lori, like whatever I can, I'm going to do. That's who God created me to be. It's exhausting. Michael called me this morning. Brah, actually he texted me. Brah, can I get a ride? And then he called me because I didn't text back right away. Brah, I mean it. Can I get a ride? And so I was like, yep, I'm going to go pick up Michael. Why wouldn't I pick up Michael? I was created to do that. I was created to pick up Michael. I don't know what you're created to do, but you should figure it out. Let's do it together. Let's figure it out together. Let's work together, because there's something that someone needs in this room that you were created to do. This week, we had a concert in the park, right? And I had thought that someone said, yeah, audio's all taken care of. Don't worry about it, right? This was Thursday, right? On Monday, I get a note saying, hey, I don't know what you think about audio, but I'm not doing it. I'm like, bro. Like there's 400 people that are coming to this thing. What do you mean you're not doing audio? What in the world am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I started figuring out how I'm going to pull like that speaker, and you'd have to unplug 16 things back there and 14 things from this thing, and then like redo it at the park. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I ever going to do? And there's this cat here. His name is Al. And I was like, bro, I can do that. Shut up. And Al came on Thursday, packed a friend's car full of stuff. It was like spilling out. Like you could see the stuff coming out of the wheel wells. There was so much stuff in his car. And Al just showed up and just put the audio together. And even then he had to wait, right? He had to wait like 35 minutes because the park didn't come and open up the park for us. But like, this is what a family does. This is what the kingdom of God, when Jesus says, and the kingdom of God is like this. This is what the kingdom of God is like, where we respond to each other's needs. There's something that Jeff and Chris specifically can do, right, for somebody else. There's something that you can specifically do for somebody else. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's the kingdom of God. And that's what we need to work towards. So this week, take one step to live gratefully, meaning to thank God for creation, and one step to live faithfully. Try to find some way to serve someone, care for your environment, do something that shows your praise and worship for the creator of all things. Now, the most important thing that we do here at Remnant Church is discussion. So we've got a handful of questions prepared for you to discuss at your table. If you're at a small table and want to join a bigger table, do that. Or if you just want to sit by yourself and think about them, you can do that too. But we'll take 15 minutes to go through these questions, and then we'll close.